What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Luis King Kong Ortiz. According to Mike Coppinger, he states that before this narrative that no one will face Luis King Kong Ortiz goes any further, let's not forget that Eddie Hearn offered Ortiz the Anthony Joshua fight in June. Ortiz turned the fight down with a promise from the PBC he'd fight Deontay Wilder in fall. Now, Ortiz will earn in excess of $7 million. Now, if this is true, which I hope is true because everyone that follows this channel knows I'm a big Ortiz fan. I think he needs to be, I think he needs the exposure, okay? I think he needs to fight these other top fighters. I think, he was one of the top fighters, one of the most skillful fighters, Cuban fighter, a lot of amateur background, you know what I mean? You could tell with his, his fight with Deontay Wilder, that he was a dangerous opponent. He's a dangerous opponent for anybody in the heavyweight division, despite his age or whatnot. But Mike Coppinger said, of course, he was promised a fight with with Wilder, which now he's fighting Wilder. Now, me counterpunching this, some things pop up to me that makes me scratch my head. Okay. I'm thinking now, okay, the $7 million, if he is to earn that amount of money on a pay-per-view, that means that fight has to do a certain amount of buys. Unless, if it doesn't, people know how pay-per-view works, if it doesn't hit a certain amount of pay-per-view buys, the network has to come out of pocket to pay the fighters as a guarantee. Of course, they risk their life in the ring. Ortiz needs a big payday like $7 million because he missed a big payday with Joshua. Now, my thing is, if he was guaranteed $7 million, the question is when? When was he guaranteed? Was it recently? Because if it was before, it would make no sense why he was upset about turning down the Joshua fight or his team turning down the Joshua fight. Of course, we know that it was some lost in translation things with him and his team. They say they dropped the ball or whatever, and Ortiz regretted them turning down, I believe it was $6 million, okay? $5 or $6 million to fight Joshua. And they supposedly turned it down with the guarantee to fight Deontay Wilder. So if it's $7 million he's getting, that's great. But you look at it like this. Here's another problem. From getting $500,000, right, versus now $7 million, what merits Luis Ortiz to get that type of money from Deontay Wilder? I mean, did Al Heyman factor in the fact that, hey, you did turn down a huge amount of money? I mean, that would be fair if that's the case. Because if I'm Team Ortiz, I'm like, dude, you owe it to me to pay me a certain amount of money now because I sacrificed a lot just to fight the WBC champ versus being the unified champ. And the unified champ lost the belt. It changed hands. Ruiz, right? Okay, so you owe this to me, or you owe this to my fighter, rather, if I'm Team Ortiz. You owe it to my fighter to give me a certain amount of money, if not more. So according to this, he's getting more. So was it a good move? Of course it was a good move, okay? First of all, he gets revenge back on the only person that beat him, which was Wilder, right? Hopefully he won't be cheated or get a fair crack at the whip with the files and all the other favoritism by Team Wilder, because it was a lot of that in that fight. They treated Luis Ortiz like a redheaded stepchild that nobody wanted. When he got threw down to the ground, when he got beat over the head, in the back of the head with rabbit punches, Nobody said shit. Nobody warned Wilder for any of those things. It don't matter if he was hurt or not. That makes it worse. You hurt a guy, then you start bashing him behind the head? No. So let's hope that won't happen. But, my guess is it would be, because now if Luis Ortiz is guaranteed $7 million, which is twice as much as Tyson Fury received in their first fight with Deontay Wilder, and that's another thing, okay, then that's extraordinary. Extraordinary, okay? I think that Luis Ortiz, again, deserves this amount of money because he made a huge sacrifice by turning down the Joshua fight, and now we look at why would Ortiz now get twice as much, over twice as much as Fury did in his fight with the guarantee. Because, the pay-per-view buys, of course, there's an upside to that. And, hey, if it does well, he gets more money. So it would be a nice little retirement bonus. But my thing is, will Ortiz get a fair crack at the whip? But that's kind of beside the point. The point I want to focus on is the money. So this had to be something that was released from Al Heyman, But then again, is everything 100% accurate with Al Heyman or with the PBC or with the pay-per-view buys? Because they're all over the place. You don't really know how much they are. Take, for example, Errol Spence and Sean Porter. That's supposed to have done 350,000, over 300,000, right? Now, Bob Arum is saying, no, that's not even true. So you're like, okay, well, you got to look at the sources, and it's basically what you care to believe. You know what I'm saying? So if he's making $7 million, I hope. If he's not, I hope he's making somewhere near that. But this is huge news for Team Ortiz, because this is the biggest payday that he ever will receive from a professional fight. And due to his age or whatnot, or him being an aging fighter at 40 years of age, he deserves it, And that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about Ortiz is making $7 million for his next fight with Deontay Wilder. Massive. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.